Hi again, Flosstube. This is Jan Hicks here. Jan Hicks Creates. I think I'm ready. I have piles surrounding me. So much to talk to you about today, so much to show you today that I'm just going to get right into it. As many of you know, yesterday was my birthday, and to say I indulged, I had mentioned on my last video before, I don't remember, that this was going to be kind of a tough one. So to say I indulged is an understatement. I have so many goodies to show you. So let's get started. First, I want to start with some thank yous and some charming mentions, as our dear friend Donna Ray says. First, I wanted to thank Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher, for calling me out. I always appreciate those kind of mentions, so thank you, Lisa. And I wanted to then talk about a couple, not necessarily new, but new to me, Flosstubers that I watched this week. And I'm still 5 days behind. Again, I'm watching all day long. I get caught up to 4 days behind, maybe 3 days behind, and then I go to sleep. And, you know, the next day I wake up and I'm back to 5 days behind. You guys are so prolific, which isn't a bad thing. I love watching all of you, but I'm having an awful time getting caught up. So I'm perpetually in the past, I guess, when it comes to Flosstube. Such is life. But anyways, some Flosstubers I have watched that may or may not be new. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I want to mention Embroidery Days again. I know I mentioned her on my last video. She's the young girl from Paris. In her last video, she took us with her to a annual needlework show in Paris. She shows us pictures and videos from last year's, which she says was better than this year's, and then she shows us this year's as well. I think they're all spectacular, so if you'd like to get a little glimpse at this needlework show festival in Paris, then go and check her out. Annette's Acres I found this week. She has lots of big and small projects. She is working on Let Freedom Ring, as is Brian from Blitz Stitch. This one has caught my eye many times before. When I saw Brian working on it, it caught my eye again, and then Annette working on it, and she's working on a different part of the chart, and it's just like, no, I have to. Do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? I really want to do it, but not right now. So go and check those out. Those are really cool. Felicity Stitches, I know that we all know Felicity Stitches. Like I said, new to me. I love her setup, love her space. And she has lots of really pretty projects. She is also exploring Hardanger, which is always fun to explore a new one, and I have some things I'm going to talk about in that direction in this video. And also, I'm in a new place. I forgot to mention that. I am in my living room. I'm actually sitting on my little stitching, knitting nook. Kind of hard to see in the video, and I don't know whether I want to mess with this too much and send y'all around. So this is where I sit. I'm in my living room. You can see our kitchen back here. We have a long sectional kind of set up here, and this particular area of the sectional, we got this at a store called Haverty's, and this particular part of the sectional is like this deeper kind of curved area, and it's called the cuddler. And I sit in the cuddler to stitch and knit. This is my section. My one cat thinks it's her section, but it's really mine. So anyways, I'm in a new space, and that ties into Felicity's pretty space, but mine isn't as pretty as hers. So there you go. The next person is another new one, Long Dog Stitcher. I know several of us have mentioned her before. Long Dog, D-A-W-G instead of D-O-G, like the pattern company. She does do a lot of Long Dog samplers. Well, she did two in particular, Hair Apparent and Hair Presumptive. A beautiful gray on white that just creates a really classy, elegant piece. She also does embroidery and paper piecing, and I think she's going to be really fun to watch, so I really recommend you check her out. Gulf Coast Stitcher, again, I know a lot of us have found her and have fallen in love. I first ran across her as Gulf Jewels, I believe, on Instagram. Of course, because she has golf in her title and her name, I had to check her out and discovered that she lives on the Gulf of Mexico, which of course is my happy place. And I was thrilled to have her, to see her sitting out on her porch on her lanai in her last video, or 2 videos before. Like I said, I'm living in the past, so her last video to me. And she gave us a glimpse of her backyard, which is actually a beach on the water. I don't know whether it's actually the Gulf or the Intercoastal Waterway, but just a gorgeous setting and nature all around her, and yeah, she'll be getting my attention. And I also just had a good laugh at the fact that she has so many finishes that she hasn't fully finished yet, because I can certainly relate to that. And I'm just pleased to see her starting to finish those, and they're turning out so pretty. So I'm excited to follow her journey. Let's see. Another, little rabbit hole I wanted to talk about. I was watching the Fiber Talk, all of the different videos that they did at Market, and one of them is a rabbit hole for me that I've been down before, and I have never seen this designer, and so this is another one. Counted canvas work. The designer's name is, I don't remember the designer's name. The company name is Needle Design Originals. Gorgeous, gorgeous pieces. I'm going to show you a few here that I saved off. This is the one in particular that caught my eye. I just think that is stunning. As you can see, there's a theme here with lots of colors, which like I said, I love color, but look at these pieces. This is counted canvas work. This is her newest one, I believe, called Razzmatazz. One of these will be going home with me at some point, not going home with me, coming to me at some point in the future, but I do already have a big counted canvas piece. I mentioned Sue Lynn's needlework in the past, one of hers that I've had all of the materials for years. I'm like, big, you know, me and big projects, big, and I probably have like 10 stitches in it. So before I can get any more of those, I will work on that, at least work on it, if not get it done. Which means years. But anyways, gorgeous work. I recommend if you're at all interested in counted canvas work, I think that might be somebody to check out. And I'll link her in my description below. Okay, so that didn't take too long for the little intro piece. Let's get on to show and tell. I actually have some finishes. These are things that I had fully finished. These are things I had finished, some of the ones I showed you that I'd finished years ago that I actually got my butt in gear and did something about. So the first one is the first trilogy piece. This is called Gathering of Hearts, I believe. And just a real simple frame. Matted the, whatever you call it, the backing of the frame, just covered that with fabric. And then mounted the piece on just, you know, regular mounting board and put it in the frame. And I just think that's just the perfect little piece for this. Nothing real fancy, lets the design stand out. So there's that one. And then the other one is this Just Nan piece. I had mentioned, I'd shown before that I'd gotten this button to put in here. And I think that works really well. It's a little big, but I think it fits. And I think it goes well. And then this is the finished piece. I got little, these are scrapbooking embellishments that I just got, just stuck, you know, they have sticky backing on them. So just a little bit of a touch to pull out the cream from the piece. So I'm really pleased with this one. Like I said, nothing real fancy, but it suits me fine. I'm not going to get real Priscilla-fied on any of these because that's just not my style at this point. And I did learn one thing. You have to be careful when you're mounting band samplers because my bands are going downhill. It is what it is. I'm not going to worry a whole lot about it. I may be the only one that notices that, but it makes me want to do that. Oh well, but I like it. So those will get hung here momentarily. I got both the frame and this at Joann's, and I also picked up a couple other pieces at Joann's, finishing pieces. These were on clearance. So just this little thing with a little clip on it, which I thought was really pretty and a great little shape. And then this little house-shaped one, so this would be good for any of the house-type things that I happen to do to change out, so I thought that was really pretty. Both of them kind of the same geometric theme, which actually suits my style fairly well. My current style. I don't really have a style. I like so many different styles. I could easily go farmhouse, but we didn't in this apartment, and so, you know, I have to pick and choose and decide how I'm going to decorate and what I'm going to use to finish off these things that's more in line with our style. So that's the fully finished ones. I wanted to show you, I think it's Misty Purcell from Luminous Fiber Arts that says from the archives. Maybe it's Kitten Stitcher, Teresa Vanette, I don't know. I'm going to pull a couple things from the archives. Not finished, of course. I mentioned counted canvas work. I like to do that. I like to do the different stitches. I like to do counted even weave work, and I've also taken some needlepoint classes, so that's what I thought I'd show you today. This isn't from a class. This is just, this is probably 22 count Ada by the looks of it, that I did a kind of a counted cross stitch and specialty stitch piece. Haven't the faintest idea of the designer, anything about this. The only thing I know is I should probably put it in a frame or something. These two pieces, I'm sure I took a class. I can almost see myself in a class for these. Don't know where, don't know when, but these are needlepoint, so canvas work, all kinds of different threads and stitches. I don't think this is Sue Lens. Like I said, I can almost see myself in a store somewhere doing these, learning how to do the stitches, especially this one. I'm pretty sure there was somebody helping me choose what colors and what to put where, but isn't that pretty? I should really get these finished, right? It's not something I could finish on my own, which is probably why they've been sitting for 30 years. I don't know. Because again, I don't own a sewing machine. So I have to send these away to be finished. But yeah, just so pretty. Lots of work in those, so I should do something about them. Okay, so those are my, oh no, another from the archive. I'm not going to talk about knitting a whole lot today, just because I have some progress on the projects I was working on, but I'm not enough to really see. But I did want to, again, Misty Purcell, who I absolutely adore. I think she's so talented and so crafty, and I just love all of her projects. She inspired me to get something out that I had worked on probably a couple years ago and I haven't pulled back out yet. She mentioned in her last video about doing a crocheted blanket that had all kinds of beautiful colors, and so I thought I'd show you the blanket that I started on a few years ago. It's called Persian Dreams. It's a Fair Isle hexagons that you then either Kitchener or 3-needle bind off together. I Kitchener these ones by the looks of it. I will probably 3-needle bind off in the future because this is a heap of work. This is, like I said, Persian Dreams by Janice Hope is the name of the designer. The hexagon, she has 24, 26 different hexagon designs. She started her design, her pattern started with 6 designs that you did multiples of and then put together to make the blanket. And then there was such a clamor for more that she did more kaleidoscope designs, which is basically what these are. So you can have an Afghan that every hexagon is different, and that's what I'm doing. These are all fingering weight yarns. Well, let me show you. This is what I keep this project in. because it is a behemoth, and it will be a behemoth. When I started, I went through my stash. I looked at the pattern to see what basic colors we needed, and I went through my stash and started pulling out and putting in bags the different color families. I have a bunch of empty bags in here because there's a bunch in another thing in here. Golds and reds, greens. So, and I have them labeled with whatever the corresponding letter is on the pattern, because that's how she does them, E, F, whatever. So all these are waiting here for me, ready to go. My main color, of course, is just a cream. So Misty has inspired me to get back on this, and what I had done in the past was just worked on this on Sundays, and I would find, and I would probably go into Monday a little bit too, I would find that it would take me about 4 days to finish a hexagon, so they don't take a huge amount of time. So I really just need to get back on this, and you can see the back. Stranded color work is always a lot of fun. My one problem with this was my tension changed from the inner rows to the outer rows. So I have a bit of puckering on some of the, you can see how it's raised more in the middle there. I have a bit of a puckering in the center that even blocking it didn't take out. So that's something that I need to work on as I move forward with this project. So there is that from the archive. Ta-da. Next on the agenda, works in progress. You can see I'm putting off the haul thing. Most of what's surrounding me is haul. Oh, can't wait to show you. But first we're going to talk about works in progress. So several different things. I had 2 birthday starts yesterday, and I'll show you those last. One of which is one of which I'm happy with, one of which I'm not happy with. And I spent some time this morning playing with the colors of that one, so I'll show you that too. So, you may remember me talking in the last video about my modern folk embroidery stitch along, how I had it oriented incorrectly. So I have restarted that and changed up the colors a bit, and this is what I have now. So I'm very pleased. I still love this. There's no way I wouldn't redo it. I'm very pleased. I don't know whether that's focusing very well. I'm very pleased with the color choice, with what I've done so far here. As you can see, I've started taking out my other one, but I still have quite a ways to go to take that out. And I'm just working on taking it out here and there as I'm sitting here. I have time. But I'm happy with what I have with that so far. When I was in Sarasota and a few days after we returned, I worked on my history of sheep a bit. So that's where I am with that. This isn't going to get any more attention for a while, which is a shame because I do love it, but I love everything else too, so that's okay. It will wait for me right where it is. Look at those cute little sheep. Love this. Another one I absolutely adore, and every time I look at this, I just say, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Harbor Haven, Stitch Along by the Bay Needle Arts. I adore this. I think this is probably the funnest piece I've worked on ever. I don't know why. I love the little scenes. And I love how they're coming together and flowing into each other. I just love everything about this. I love the fabric I chose. I love stitching over 1 on the 36. And this is actually fairly easy, even though it's 36 count. You can see the holes are fairly big. If it would focus at all. You can see the holes are fairly big. So it's fairly easy to do over 1. But I just adore everything about this. And I can't wait till this is done and up on my wall, but we're only on part 4, so it'll be a while. All right, now we are to my birthday starts. The first one, I had mentioned this on my first video, second video, I don't remember. The Sing a Song series, Sing a Sampler series by Silver Creek Samplers. There you go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, the song from The Sound of Music. This is a tribute to my mother, and to me, and our love of musicals and the sound of music. So I had seen somebody do this where they changed, like the colors in this are fairly muted, kind of more natural colors. Again, I love color, and I had seen somebody do this, more of a Roy G. Biv rainbow colorways. Each one of the squares follows, so red, orange, blue, indigo, violet, blah, blah, blah. So this is the first one, dough. I'm using a variety of sampler threads, Genora sampler threads, and I have a few Needle Necessity over-dyed flosses in there. This is what I did for half a day yesterday, so I think this is going to go pretty quickly. As much as, you know, I'm going to work on it pretty steadily here for the next few weeks and hopefully get this done fairly quickly. Not that it's only going to take a couple weeks, but I am going to concentrate on this a bit. Okay, and the other one that I started yesterday that I just was not as happy with. This is one from my stash. Now, I had it in my bag for stash unload, and I've got to get this up. I have whole bunches of things to put on stash unload. Everything from Bent Creek, I have some Maureen Appleton, I have this really cute cat kit. I have a ton of, I don't know whether, you know, Emmy Bishop cross and patch, combining hard anger and specialty stitches. You people that are doing hard anger and want to combine it, these are just some gorgeous, gorgeous patterns. I have all of the Faith, Hope, Love, Patience ones. So I really need to get those up here. I have some Shepherd's Bush, I have some lavender and lace. It's just kind of crazy. But anyways, I was actually going through my bag of stash for stash unload to see if I happen to have any Lizzie Kates that I wanted to keep. I'm not a huge Lizzie Kate fan. I do like some of her stuff, so I thought, oh, let me see if there's any in there, just out of curiosity. And I came across this. This is called Wish Upon a Star, copyright 1987. So yeah, this is an old one. I have loved this since I started stitching. And, you know, with Lynette from Homesteading on the Home Front doing those wonderful little quilt designs, again, I don't sew, I don't have a sewing machine, but I love quilts. And those kind of inspired me to think, well, I could just stitch quilts, right? Why not? And then I came across this again, which, like I said, I have loved since I started stitching. So I decided to make this a birthday start. Got the fabric for it. It's a 32 count white linen. Got it at the stitching post when I went up there the other day for market day. And I started stitching on it last night. So that's what I had. And then the next color that I used was a peach color. And boy, with that peach in there, it screamed 80s. And as much as I love how this looks, boy, that is not focusing at all today. Excuse me. Little bugger. I do have it turned around in the selfie mode, so that's probably why. As much as I love how this looks, I don't want something that screams 80s on my wall. So what I did this morning was spent some time going through the colors and just kind of, well, what I did first actually was looked on Pinterest to see if I could find an inspiration piece, because that's what I do. And I found this. So again, it's similar in number one that it's a quilt star, but that it has a lot of the different colors, but everything is just kind of punched up a bit, right? So you go from more pastel-y colors to, whoops, and then adding the black in there, I think really helps that strong contrast. So that's kind of the colors I went with. I looked through what I have, and I don't know whether you're going to be able to see these, but this is what I came up with. So just the same, basically the same colors, but everything just punched. So I'm going to take this out here this afternoon and rework this and see what I think. By the way, I wanted to mention, I don't know whether, I've never seen anybody mention these little floss bags. These are called Tux, T-U-X. I get these from 123 Stitch. They're an alternative to Floss Away. I like them because they're smaller. And, you know, as I've said before, space is a premium for me. Right now, I don't really have a good organizing system for these. What I'm going to do, I think, is get the, you know, you see people that get the hanging folders and cut off the folder part and punch holes in it. And then what I'm going to do, I think, is hang these, do that, and hang these in there. And I don't think I'm even going to use rings. This is going to sound crazy, I know, and that's, I'm an alternative person. I think I'm going to use Christmas tree ornament hangers to hang these. I got to thinking about all those little metal rings and how heavy that would be, having all those together in one tub. Because I hope to get my DMC and my specialty flosses in one. I don't know if I can, but it seems like it would hold a lot. So those rings, I think, would add a lot of weight. So I'm going to try it with Christmas ornament hangers. Hanging from, see how there's a hole? There's this hole here that I pull the floss out of, and then there's another hole up here. So I'm going to hang it from here and kind of pinch close so it doesn't fall. I like these better than just hanging on the rings. Like, I know people just hang their floss on the rings rather than put it in a bag. I like this better because I can put the loose strands, the partially used strands, back in the bag and keep those organized along with. So I will let you know when I get all the stuff for that, if it works, and I'll show you how it looks, and maybe I'll do a video showing you how I'm organizing it. Alright, so that is my whips. Sasha is exploring. We may have a kitty visitation here in the not too distant future, or he's just going to chew on the plastic bags because that's another thing he likes to do that drives me insane. Alright, we are ready for haul. Where would you like to start? Would you like to start with market? Would you like to start with alternative crafts? Would you like to start with just everything else? Let's start with market. I know you want to see market. Now, I did post a picture of this in, on Instagram and on Stitch Mania, maybe Cross Stitch Unlimited, maybe Friday Off the Grid. I posted in several places. Don't ask me where. I'm a member of too many things. When I first got to the stitching post and started going through, and they have multiple racks and stuff of all the Nosh Nashville stuff, I just started gathering, knowing full well that I wasn't going to get it all, but I just started gathering. And then I stopped and went through it and weeded some out. And then I had also to get some fabric, and I needed to get some sampler threads, so I got those. And then I stopped and I added up what I had. And as much as I've indulged myself this birthday, that it was a little bit over the top even for me. So I weeded some more out that I will probably get at some point in the future. One of which was Jeanette Douglas's quilt. She has a quilt star. Again, like a counted, I don't know whether it's canvas or just counted, like even weave work, but just really stunning, 2 different colorways. That one stays in my mind, so that will come home with me at some point. But there were several that I put back that I know I'll get at some point. But the ones that I could not resist, Brenda Gervais, Rosewood Manor. Rosewood Manor, I almost brought Sunset home because I really like the thought of having both Sunset and Sunrise. If you haven't seen those, it's like a paired set, gorgeous, saturated colors, right up my alley. But I'm holding off on those. So Brenda Gervais. One of the reasons these really caught my eyes because I'm working on the ABCDarian, the Schoolhouse Sampler lessons from last summer. And these are the same colors, so they'll, and I'm doing actually the ABCDarian set as one long piece, and I've never seen anybody do that before. Again, I'm odd. I hope it turns out. I'm still only on the first piece, so we'll see. But I like these because they're the same colors. So this is the Brick House Sampler, just gorgeous, and Blessed Be. So I think these will create a really nice set, and then with the long piece hung with it. So I'm excited about that. Plum Street Sampler, I had all of theirs in my hands. Too many nice things. This is the one I decided needed to come home with me, Woolamina. I love the frame. I love how it's framed. I love the name. I love that the person that finished this for her named it. And of course it's sheep and the pink flowers. I just love everything about this. So, Restrain Myself, only brought that one home. Hands-on Design, Laundry. If you're gonna do laundry, let's make some pretties for it. So I'm gonna get the whole set of those and do that for hanging outside. My laundry room isn't a room, it's just a little closet where the machines are, but I have a nice wall across from the laundry room. All right, I was rudely interrupted by a phone call. So I'm gonna try and figure out, and I didn't realize it had stopped recording until probably I was 5 minutes further down the road. So let's see if I can recreate. I was talking about laundry. Don't have a laundry room. I have a nice wall across from where my machines hide. That's where all these pretties are gonna go. Last but not least, my market haul. Did I show this? I don't think I showed this. Leeds House Sampler. Gorgeous greens and blues. Right up my alley. I just love this. I didn't get the fabric or anything for it. I'm going to use whatever the called for is in here. I just think it's stunning the way it is. I also got, they had the petite sulky threads. I'm going to, so I went ahead and got those. Just going to stitch it. I think I very rarely stitch things exactly how they are. I'm always changing out something. This one, it's gorgeous the way it is. It's going to get stitched the way it is. All right, so that is my Nashville haul. The other things I got while I was there, like I said, if I'm repeating myself, please forgive me. I'm so frustrated right now. I got a bunch of sampler threads to kit up projects. I mentioned in one of my other videos Spring Jack, and I mentioned how I didn't like how light the fabric was that they used. I think it's too pale that poor Mr. Jack gets kind of lost in there. So I pulled out from my stash this darker. This is more of a blue. It's showing more gray on the camera, but this is more of a blue. It's a blue tile Linda 30 count, I believe. It's actually, I think, the same. No, it's not. Never mind. Yeah. So I got the sampler threads I needed to complete what I had. I had some of them, and you can see my kind of strange mishmash of storage systems. Eventually they'll all get switched over to the tuxes. I also put in, I'm a new subscriber thanks to many different people mentioning the Victoria sampler threads, Victorian motto sampler threads. I emailed Nancy like right as she was getting ready to do the invoices, so I got in this month's. So this is those. I got both the limited edition and the primitive. They're all mixed together, so I don't know which is which at this point. Can't believe how great the price is for this beautiful thread. So I've actually started to substitute into different projects. So I have one of them in here. You can see that's the Barely Pink, and I'm dropping floss all over the place. So that's the Barely Pink. I also put a couple, you remember me mentioning my Moments in Chalk that I'm going to do. I put a couple of them in here for that. I haven't gotten the rest of the floss for that yet. I probably won't start that until the summer this time, so that can wait. I also started to kit up HoityToity. Kindred Stitcher and Textilis both are going to be doing a stitch along for HoityToity, and they invited whoever wants to join, and being the sucker that I am for big ass projects, I got the pattern PDF, of course, as I prefer to work from PDFs. And I got the fabric while I was at a stitching post, and this is a 36 count white linen, doesn't say what brand. And then I got some of the flosses that I needed, and two of those are, those two right there, are Victorian Motto sampler thread. I also went through the chart and looked for the flosses, the Gentle Arts flosses that needed a lot, like in like the black is Raven in Gentle Arts. You need 8 skeins, you need 40 yards. To me, it makes a whole lot more sense to get 2 from Nancy of the Victorian Motto than buying 8 of the Gentle Arts. So there are several other ones that I'm substituting Victorian Motto threads for. And I just went through her eBay site and tried to, as much as you can tell from a picture, tried to get ones that were fairly similar. If they don't match, again, like I said, how often do I use exactly what's called for? Not very often, and it's okay. So I emailed her yesterday, and those are on their way. So that is HoityToity ready to go. So ladies, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. I also got, I don't know about myself sometimes. I picked up 3 of Gentle Arts Sampler Threads Bluejay. I was separating out my floss this morning for these projects before I did the video, so I could show you, and these aren't on a list anywhere. There's nothing that says Bluejay, and I make a list, like when I'm subbing, of course, I note everything down that I'm going to sub and how many I need. Nothing says Bluejay. There's no blue. I don't know. I don't know. I have to figure that out. I don't know why I got those. Okay, other haul I got. And let me tell you, I am an equal opportunity haul person thingy. I get it from everywhere. I don't even know where everything came from. I took advantage of everything cross stitches, spring, like 15% off spring charts. So some of those are from there. This is one of them. So I saw March for the Moments in Chalk pattern, so I got that. I don't have any of the other small ones, but I have March. Heck, why not? Birthday month, right? This is Abby Rose Designs, Welcome Spring. I love those little egg-shaped things. And eventually I think I'm going to have a dough bowl or a dough bowl equivalent to sit someplace to have little things. I don't have any smalls like all you guys do. I need to fix that. So that's part of that, fixing that. Totally, oh, here's another thing fixing that. Along with liking the big ass projects, I love series. As you can see from my Harbor Haven, I love series. Modern folk embroidery. I mean, that, it just answers a need in me. So I'm a sucker for any series types things as well, Moments in Chalk, right? I've been wanting to do a seasons series set, like that. And I finally found one that I just totally fell in love with, and that is the Leela's Studios set, season set. So there's spring. I just think these are so gorgeous. I ordered yesterday the fabric that I need for this from an Etsy store called, let me look it up, The Cottage Needle. And I ordered the flosses I need for this. It's Gentle Arts sampler thread and a couple DMCs. I ordered the Gentle Arts from, from Dawn Sunshine Lane. So those are on their way. So that's that's spring. So spring will get started probably as soon as I get it, maybe. I don't know whether I'll wait. We'll see. Summer. Just love these. And yes, there are pillows. And pillows intimidate me a little bit. I do have a friend here that owns that is a quilter and owns a sewing machine, so I will probably be borrowing her sewing machine. I watched Kathy Haberman's video yesterday, her return from market video, and she talked about how she does pillows. One of the things that's always kind of stumped me is how whenever you know, stitch all 3 of the sides or most of the sides and then leave a little section open to stuff it, and then you have to hand stitch that together. And I know you can put some kind of border treatment around it to cover up that hand stitching, which may not be, it certainly isn't going to match the machine stitching, but it's going to be a little messier, so you can cover it up. But I really liked Kathy's idea of, she pulls out the backing fabric and snips it a little bit and then cuts it open and then stuffs it, and then like puts a little patch, sews it back up and puts a little patch on that. I just thought that was a really cool idea. And then sometimes she'll embellish it with little buttons. It'd be a perfect place to stitch your initials and the date. So I may do that instead. But anyways, pillows. I haven't done any. I need to get my brain around that because these will get finished as pillows. This is autumn and winter. These are just so gorgeous, and they won't take long. They're just little tiny things. I also fell in love with Chessie and Me. Maybe it's because there's a cat on all of her projects. I don't know. So I got, again, from the 123, or no, Everything Cross Stitch spring sale, I got the Garden Blooms, and see the little, there's both bees and a little kitty. Love that. She also has a lot of specialty stitches in hers, which I love. And then this one is called Cheerful Spring. And this is hard to see because it's not very big. But all of the grass areas are satin stitch. The roof has eyelets in it. I believe the buds on the trees are made up of Smyrna crosses, as are the leaves. There's just all kinds of specialty stitches in this. So I was watching Donna Ray yesterday, and she mentioned that she has a Chessie and Me, an old one, that for some reason just isn't calling her, and it's been sitting and sitting and sitting. So I told her that when I'm ready to do this, I'm going to let her know so she can pull out her Chessie and Me and she can get that thing finished. Okay. Only a couple more of cross-stitch type hole. So, I am on the fence about the Prairie Schooler month things. I like some of them not so much, but I really thought this June one was pretty. I like that the little bonus chart, whatever you call it. This one is June. I really like the idea of having a grapevine wreath, and I probably saw this idea, maybe it's Priscilla's idea, I don't remember, having a grapevine wreath and having the different months tied to it and changed out. I don't think that's too frou-frou or country for my decor here. So I thought I'd give that a whirl. So I got June. And then at some point, I kind of get things like whenever there's a series that I know I want to do, I kind of get the first chart as kind of a placeholder to remind myself, hey, yeah, I wanted to do that. So I got the first chart, the ABC chart for the Prairie Schooler alphabet. I know several people are doing this. Letitia stands out as one of them. And, I don't particularly care for the colors. I will probably change them a little bit, just to add more blues and greens, because that's what I like. But I do love the way this looks. So the last bit of haul for cross-stitching is actually a chart I bought from Lisa Richter on Stitch Mania. She had finished this Jacobian tree. Now, if you recall, a few videos ago, I showed you my Jacobian bell pull. I adore the Jacobian style, and I saw this and I immediately started looking for the chart. I found it I don't remember whether it was Etsy or eBay. It's a full kit with Ada, and I think the floss, does it say on here? Yeah, the floss is Finca Presencia. I don't want the kit. I wouldn't use Ada, and I'd probably sub out a lot of the colors for overdyes. So Lisa offered to sell me her chart, and I jumped all over that. So here it is. Again, I don't know when I'm going to start it, but I adore it. And there's another Jacobian piece on 123 Stitch. I forget what it's called, but it's blues and greens as well that will be mine at some point in the not too distant future. All right, so that's my cross stitch stuff. I had mentioned that I was going to start white work embroidery, and I ordered the materials for that. Hoop, the type of hoop to keep it nice and tense, the Susan Bates deluxe frame. It's the lip lock something or other. And then from Trisha Burrs, the author of that White Work with Color embroidery book that I showed you, from her site I ordered the white muslin material that I need. And I ordered, I'm probably mostly going to use DMC, but she mentions Floche. DMC, let me see, here's the name there. Can you see that? Floche, F-L-O-C-H-E. Very thin. Thinner, I would say, than one strand of DMC. Maybe not. But this is what they use for the padding stitches a lot of times. They use this for satin stitch. So I decided to get some of that and try it. It came in this nice little pouch. Trisha is actually in South Africa, and I didn't realize that when I ordered it. So it took maybe a week or two to get here, but not a big deal. So whenever I get my total brain together to start this, I will be doing a video showing my attempts. I have to figure out the whole transferring the pattern onto the fabric thing and all that too. The other thing I got, oh, before I go there, Cindy Cross Stitch mentioned buttermilk basin fabric. She showed a bunch of those that she got on her last video, and I don't have a whole lot of finishing fabrics, so I decided to go ahead and get some. I like this kind of neutral grays, a little bit bluish. I think that will suit my colors a lot. So I just got these as a sample. They're a homespun. I think it's like one of their Japanese woven bundles. Has a really great texture and feel to it. So thank you, Cindy, for the enabling. And last but not least, I think that's the last. Looking through all my piles. Punch needle. Once again, I have to call out Misty Purcell. Do you see Misty? I just should not watch. Okay, I'm going to give my try to punch needle. And I will tell you, I had talked myself out of this. And then I happened across Michelle Palmer's Etsy shop. Now, some of you may know Michelle from Down Sunshine Lane. She makes some needle minders based on some of Michelle's artwork. She does some pencil drawings. She also does watercolor, gorgeous watercolor. And Michelle translates her watercolor work into punch needle. I am not somebody, as I've mentioned, I'm not somebody who likes the real primitive looking things. That just does not suit my style. But Michelle's, and so a lot of the punch needle just seemed to go down that road a lot. And I thought, yeah, no, maybe not. It just, I don't think that will really suit me. And then I saw Michelle's punch needles with these vibrant, I love watercolor. So the vibrant colors and the flow of color and the more, I would say modern, there's a lot of bees, there's a lot of birds, flowers. The only reason I'm trying to learn punch needles is so I can do some of her work. I'm starting much smaller and simpler though. I found a website, and I will link it below, called the Old Tattered Flag, or the Tattered Flag, which is it? There it is. Old Tattered Flag. And they have basic kits. So I'm starting with this basic little flag. The kits come with the pattern already stamped on the fabric, so I don't have to mess with the whole trying to figure out transferring thing. And it comes with all the floss. Now they use Sullivan's, or they offer Sullivan's in their kits, as well as some hand dyeds that are their own hand dyeds. So I got that little kit, the little patterns in there. I have my punch needle. I have my hoop. Hello, I'm going to do a mini. Hello, everybody. So, again, I'm going to do a video, hopefully in the next week, showing you my attempt at punch needle. And you know, I've watched several videos. I'm going to watch some more before I start, but you're seeing people that are proficient at it, and they make it look so easy. We shall see just how easy it is. I'm going to just show you from the beginning my attempts, and we'll just see. Now it just occurs to me, because your piece should fit completely in your hoop. My hoop might be too small. It's just a smidge too small. Oh, I might give it a try anyways. See what happens. Bummer. Maybe I'm not holding it down in the fattest part of the hoop, the widest part. It might work, just barely. Anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you liked what you saw. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. As always, thank you for your comments and your likes, and just for being a great community. I love being here, and I love being a part of it. I hope you all have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.